What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Monday, May 9th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate.
And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 7-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. Okay, a stud on the slate that I like, although I am a little bit cautious because he's got a tough matchup here. He's got good splits, but he's facing some pretty good batters that are in good spots versus him. So anyways, I do like Carlos Rodon. He's got a 13% pitching advantage here over the Colorado Rockies because he only gives up a .495 OPS versus righties, a .434 OPS versus lefties. His worst pitch is to switch hitters, and he's not facing any switch hitters here tonight. He's facing 2 lefties and 7 righties, so he's got good splits, but the Rockies have hit 11 of his last 35 pitches, so just be cautious. There are some Rockies that are in good spots versus Carlos Rodon, but Carlos Rodon's got some major upside here. He's 11,100 FanDuel salary, 1,100 less on DraftKings, averaging 45 fantasy points per game on the season. He has an ERA of 1.55. Record is 3-1, pitching an average of 95 pitches per game. And Vegas only thinks there's going to be 6.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Carlos Rodon here versus the Colorado Rockies. Now, another stud pitcher that I like, and his splits are even better, is Mackenzie Gore with a 24% pitching advantage over the Chicago Cubs. Mackenzie Gore pitches his best ball by far to righty batters. 24% better than his other pitches, only giving up a .476 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 7 righties here tonight. So Mackenzie Gore is 10,000 FanDuel salary, 300 less on DraftKings, averaging 32 fantasy points per game on the season. He has an ERA of 1.71. Record is 2-0, pitching an average of 91 pitches per game. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 7 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Mackenzie Gore here versus the Chicago Cubs. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I like Ty France with a 71% batting advantage over Ranger Suarez. Ty France is batting 6% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .852 OPS versus lefties. And Ranger Suarez is pitching 65% worse to righties as he does lefties, giving up a .773 OPS versus righties. Now, there's no at-bats versus Suarez yet, and Ty France is 3,700 FanDuel salary, 500 more on DraftKings, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. And he's got a batting average of .319. So I like Ty France here versus Ranger Suarez. Now I also like Pavin Smith with a 35% batting advantage over Elieser Hernandez. Pavin Smith is batting 9% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .780 OPS versus righties. Elieser Hernandez pitches 25% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a .924 OPS versus lefties. Pavin Smith is 1 for 3 versus Hernandez, and he's $2,900 FanDuel salary, only $200 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .250. So I like Pavin Smith here versus Alicia Hernandez.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Wilmer Flores, batting against a low salary pitcher, Austin Gomber. Wilmer Flores is batting a .736 OPS versus lefties. Austin Gomber pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 9% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .752 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Wilmer Flores is 3 for 7. That's a .429 batting average and a 1.357 OPS versus Gomber. One of those 3 hits is for a home run. And Wilmer Flores is $3,200 FanDuel salary, $700 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .271. So I like Wilmer Flores here versus Austin Gomber. I also like Ketel Marte with a 22% batting advantage over Alicia Hernandez. Ketel Marte batting a .700 OPS versus righties. Alicia Hernandez pitching his worst ball versus switch hitters, 41% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.365 OPS versus switch hitters. Now, Ketel Marte is only 1 for 6 versus Hernandez, but I like those splits. I like that he's going up against a weak pitcher versus switch hitters. And Ketel Marte is $3,100 FanDuel salary, $1,000 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. Now, he's only batting a .206 batting average, but he's on fire. He scored 15, 12, and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Ketel Marte here versus Alicia Hernandez. Okay, now here's a value play. I like Tyler Wade with a 43% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Jeffrey Springs. Tyler Wade is batting 29% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .894 OPS versus lefties. Jeffrey Springs is pitching 13% worse to lefties as he is righties, and he's giving up a .644 OPS versus lefties. Tyler Wade is 1 for 1 versus Springs, and he's only $2,400 FanDuel salary. He's $1,600 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 5 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .286. So I like Tyler Wade here versus Jeffrey Springs. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. Already gave you Taylor Wade and Wilmer Flores. Let's see if we got another third baseman. Yeah, I like Joey Wendell with a 15% batting advantage over Humberto Castellanos. Joey Wendell is batting a .758 OPS versus righties. Humberto Castellanos pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, 18% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .833 OPS versus lefties. And Joey Wendell is $2,500 FanDuel salary, $1,100 more on DraftKings, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. No, he's averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .271. So I like Joey Wendell here versus Humberto Castellanos. Oh, I just wanted to mention, guys, I've been doing sports betting picks. I'm using a website called betterodds.io, and we are 16 out of our last 18 picks in the past 5 days. So if you're interested in our sports betting picks, you can go to betterodds.io, and there is a link to a free Discord chat right at the top of the page. And you can join us in the Discord chat where we'll be discussing our top picks of the day. So we'd love to have you in there. So it's betterodds.io.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, at the shortstop position, I like Jazz Chisholm Jr. with a 60% batting advantage over Humberto Castellanos. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is batting 43% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .910 OPS versus righties. Humberto Castellanos pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .833 OPS versus lefties. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is 1 for 3 versus Castellanos, and he's 3,700 FanDuel salary, 1,700 more on DraftKings, averaging 14 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .310. So I like Jazz Chisholm Jr. here versus Humberto Castellanos. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. Here's my home run hitter, my dong of the day. I like Taylor Ward, batting against the low salary pitcher Jeffrey Springs. Taylor Ward is batting 9% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.021 OPS versus lefties. Jeffrey Springs giving up a .558 OPS versus righties. Now, Taylor Ward is 0 for 3 versus Springs. I think he's due for a big hit here. He's 4,000 FanDuel salary, 1,500 more on DraftKings, averaging 15 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .364. So I like Taylor Ward here versus Jeffrey Springs. Now I also like Steven Kwan with a 60% batting advantage over Michael Kopech. Steven Kwan batting 36% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .960 OPS versus righties. Michael Kopech giving up a .669 OPS versus lefties, pitching 24% worse to lefties as he does righties. And Steven Kwan is 2,600 FanDuel salary. He's 2,200 more on DraftKings, so I love that FanDuel price, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .316. So I like Steven Kwan here versus Michael Kopech. Here's another value play. This is a good value play on both sites. I like Austin Slater, batting against the low salary pitcher Austin Gomber. Austin Slater is batting a .713 OPS versus lefties. Austin Gomber pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .752 OPS versus righties. And Austin Slater is 4 for 8, batting .500 with a 1.250 OPS versus Gomber. He's only 2,400 FanDuel salary, 500 more on DraftKings, averaging 7 fantasy points per game on the season, and he has a batting average of .255. So I like Austin Slater here versus Austin Gomber.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.